What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NFL here to talk about the Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. I promise you, you are not going to regret it. This is the best Bears content you can find around. But I do talk, of course, about the NFL in general and other sports as well. But point being is, go ahead and subscribe. Do so right now. And today I've got an interesting topic, okay? And by the way, follow me on my social media too. Links down below in the description. You guys can reach out to me, etc. Okay, point being is, listen, I've got a very interesting topic. You guys obviously see the title. I'm here to talk about why I believe Matt Nagy and not the quarterback play is the real key for success for the Chicago Bears this upcoming season. So let's talk about it, folks. You are really going to enjoy this video. This is going to be a football meat sandwich. I'm going to be throwing a lot of data and numbers at you guys, so get ready because we're getting started. So first, let me just say, this is not a Matt Nagy bashing rant video, okay? This is an analysis, okay? I'm doing my objective analysis, and I looked at the numbers, and this is what I have arrived at, okay? And what I've arrived at is this. Matt Nagy is going to be the biggest reason for the Bears being successful in the 2020 NFL season. So let's do a little recap. Matt Nagy's been with the Bears for 2 years now. He's been the head coach for 2 years. First year, phenomenal season, obviously. The Bears go 12-4, win the division. Matt Nagy gets named coach of the year. Everything went right until, of course, the double doink in the playoffs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. But we'll skip past that, okay? For the most part, Matt Nagy, as a coach, phenomenal. As good of a year as you can have as of certainly a first-year head coach. So, comes off the gate blazing hot, okay? So, the hiring looks like a home run. Just an absolute home run. By the way, a lot of people did not give Ryan Pace credit for that. You know, when Matt Nagy first came on, you know, the fact that he was so good. And people just love, you know, just getting at Ryan Pace for the mistakes. But you got to give the man credit when he does something good, okay? So point being is, first year, a total success, knocks it out of the park. Second year, expectations through the roof, obviously. You have won the division last year, so you expect the Bears to do something similar. And the Bears pretty much come down. I wouldn't say a complete nosedive, because that would mean like a record that's below 500. But the Bears were average. 8-8, right? 8-8, 500. Your quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, regressed. The entire offense regressed. Okay? A lot. Okay? But here's the thing. Why was Matt Nagy hired in the first place by the Bears? To obviously improve the offense. He is an offensive play caller. He does not call the defense. That is now Chuck Pagano's job. And it was previously the job of Vic Fangio, right? Who's now the head coach of the Broncos. So, Matt Nagy only calls the offensive plays. And so he was hired here from Kansas City to improve the offense. Because what has been the Bears, MO since, pretty much the beginning of the franchise, we always have a good defense, never have a good, competent offense. So Matt Nagy was brought in to correct that. And for a year, it looked like he did. But then obviously we're back to pretty much square one. So let's talk about if Matt Nagy really did improve that offense in 2018 in his first year. And I've got some numbers here for you guys that I want to share that are very interesting when you look at them, okay? Now, again, don't get very, confused by the board here. I know there's a lot going on here, but let me explain, okay? Basically, on the left side, we've got the 2018 season, Matt Nagy's first year, on the right side, last season, okay? So, first season and last season, okay? I've got yards. So these are all offensive numbers. I've got yards per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, points and points per game. Okay, so these are the totals and then per game averages. Okay, and these are the Bears ranks in 2018, and these are the Bears ranks last year in 2019. So pay attention, okay, because I told you it's going to be a lot of numbers here. We're going deep into the data. Yards per game, Bears were 21st. I'm looking at 2018 right now. Yards per game were 21st, and total yards 21st. And when you think about that, you're like, wow, the Bears were pretty low, and they had a very good season that year. You know, you would have thought total yardage would have been a lot higher. This is total yardage, by the way. Then we get to passing yardage. This is obviously where Matt Nagy should excel. 21st. Same thing, 21st, and passing yards per game, 21st. Same thing. So that's bottom half of the league. Okay, so you're like, damn, how the heck did the Bears go 12-4 that year? Well, let's take a look at the next two. Okay, if you can see here, rushing yards, the Bears were 11th. And rushing yards per game, the Bears were 11th. And points, 9th. And points per game, 9th. Okay, so the Bears, in terms of rushing yards, were pretty much a top 10 team. And in points per game, they were a top 10 team. Now you switch that over to this year, or I should say this past season, and we took a nosedive everywhere. Yards per game and yards, total yards, 29th. Just absolutely awful. Passing yards per game, 25th. And passing yards total, 25th. Same thing, but you had a drop off from 21st to 25th. Rushing yards and rushing yards per game. This was the huge drop off here from 11th to 27th. Okay, you go from a top 10 team pretty much in rushing yards to literally the bottom of the league. Near the bottom of the league, okay? And then points per game, you go from 9th to 29th. Again, bottom of the league. So, what stands out to you? It's the last four numbers, right? The rush yards, rushing yards per game, and the points per game. Okay? Ding, ding, ding. That's the difference. So, here's the thing. The illusion is that Matt Nagy really changed the Bears' offense in 2019 through the passing game, which, as you see by the numbers, it really was not the case. The Bears were only 21st in terms of passing yardage, okay? And what really helped the Bears in terms of, being able to put up numbers was the rushing game, okay? 11th in the rushing yards per game and total rush yards and points. Now, points, I do want to point out, the Bears defense had a lot of turnovers that year, and that contributed to the points part because the Bears defense scored a ton of points. This past season, the Bears defense wasn't able to get those same turnovers. They weren't able to score those same points. So that is the reason for the drop off there. But what does this tell you, folks? This tells you that the Bears' success in 2018 was more predicated on the run game instead of the passing game. And Matt Nagy was brought in for the passing game, okay? And here's the even more interesting thing. Who was the Bears running back in 2018? Who was it? I'll give you guys a second here. It was Jordan Howard. It was not David Montgomery. It was Jordan Howard, who we traded to the Eagles after that season. Jordan Howard, in 2018, you would have thought he had a monster season, right? Absolute monster season when the Bears were 11th in rushing. Well, not so much. 250 carries for 935 yards, so not even 1,000 yards rushing, and 3.7 yards per carry, folks. Pathetic. 3.7. That is awful. Now, he did have 9 touchdowns. Great. The Bears were in the end zone a lot. But just 3.7 yards per carry. You compare that to the Bears running back last year, David Montgomery, first year rookie, obviously, 242 rushing attempts, so just 8 less rushing attempts, 889 yards, 3.7 yards per carry, so the same yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. Okay? So he barely had, just a little bit less yardage and a little bit less attempts. So that difference doesn't add up for why the Bears were 11th in 2018, but then they go to 29th in 2019, right? Or 27th, I should say. Yeah, 27th. So what's the difference? Well, there are other folks on the team that ran the ball. That is the quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. He ran the ball in 2018 for 68 times for 421 rushing yards, okay? And last year, we all know Mitchell Trubisky did not run the ball that much, though I was surprised he did have 48 rush attempts, but 20 less rush attempts for just 193 rushing yards. Okay? So Mitchell Trubisky completely takes that game, part of his game away. Matt Nagy does not have those runs for him. There's no design runs. There's no scrambles, nothing like that. Mitch Trubisky was relegated to the pocket. Okay? So let's do the math. You take the difference of 421 rushing yards, subtract it from the 193 rush yards that Mitchell Trubisky had this past season. So 2018 Mitch rushing yards, 2019 Mitch rushing yards. And the difference is what? 228 rushing yards. Okay? So let's take the 228 rushing yards and add that to the Bears' 2019 rushing total. And your new rushing number, if your quarterback ran as much as he did in 2018, is 1,686 yards, which would rank 18th in the NFL. So you automatically go from 27th and jump almost 10 spots to 18th in the NFL if your quarterback just runs like he did the season before. Folks, I think you know what I'm getting at here, and if you don't, you should by now. Matt Nagy needs to be able to get the run game going, okay? A large part of why Mitchell Trubisky regressed last year was because Matt Nagy just made him sit in the damn pocket and throw from the pocket. And here's the thing, folks. There is not a one-size-fits-all for quarterbacks. Every quarterback is different. Use your quarterback's strength. Now, I sound like, every game last year where I was harping on this, but it's a good time to recap, folks, because honestly, that's what the numbers show here, okay? Now, we don't even know if Mitchell Trubisky is going to start this year, and certainly the other quarterback that could start is Nick Foles, at which point, obviously, Nick Foles is not a scrambling quarterback at all. He can't run. He is a pocket quarterback. At that point, no, my argument goes out the water. Obviously, you don't want Nick Foles to run. But point being is, if Nick Foles is in, you need to run the football more with David Montgomery. Let's get some I formations and put it in David Montgomery's belly and let him get through the holes. Okay? That's what I want. If Mitchell Trubisky's under center, you better make Mitch run. Oh, you better make Mitch run because you are taking away his best asset, which are his legs. Okay? And a prime example of this to me is in Buffalo. Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen is that fantastic. He actually is very similar to Mitchell Trubisky. He's got a relatively big arm. He definitely has a bigger arm, I do think, than Mitchell Trubisky. And he's very inaccurate. But he has incredible running ability. He's got great legs, and he scrambles. And what does Buffalo do well? They run the damn football. So a couple more numbers here for you guys. Last year, the Bills, at 10-6, were 8th in rushing. 8th. Okay, the Bears were 27th. And they were 26th in passing. The Bears were 25th in passing. So the Bills were a worse passing team than the Bears, but because they ran the football, they finished 10-6 and the Bears finished 8-8, and the Bills made the playoffs, the Bears didn't. That's the difference. Good coaching in the NFL matters more than any other sport. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Coaching in the NFL matters more than any other sport. In the NBA, if you don't have stars, you can't win. I don't care if your coach is Greg Popovich. In baseball, you can take that with hockey. Most sports, if you don't have the stars, you can't win. The coaches have minimal impact. In the NFL, the coaches have the most impact out of any sport. So if Matt Nagy understands that he does not need to run his offense and instead needs to run the offense that makes sense for the personnel, that is what will lead the Bears to success in 2020, folks. Because here's the thing. Matt Nagy last year did not adapt to the personnel. Matt Nagy last year, he ran his offense, even if the offense didn't fit the quarterback. Okay? Matt Nagy last year, I'm going to run my rushing offense at random times. David Montgomery's never going to get a chance to establish any sort of rhythm, nothing like that. So that can't happen. That can't happen. So in 2020, it's even more important. I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky should start. I'm not saying Nick Foles should start. The better quarterback should start. Whoever wins the starting job, they need to start. But whoever does, Matt Nagy better build the offense around that player. And in terms of the rushing attack, that needs to be a priority regardless of who is under center, because the numbers show you the Bears do well and much better when they rush the football. The passing numbers aren't even good when the Bears were 12-4. It is about the rushing numbers, okay? You have David Montgomery, utilize him, give him the carries. He better have 1,100 rushing yards this coming season. Put the ball in his hands. Play good. You know the Bears are going to play good defense and cut out the mistakes. So Matt Nagy needs to just not try to outsmart the room, outsmart himself, and that is going to be the biggest key, because Matt Nagy, man, that's the one thing. And I forgot where I read this. Somebody pointed out Matt Nagy needs to not think he's still in Kansas City and trying to run that offense. The Bears are not the Chiefs, okay? I'm sorry. They're just not, okay? Use your personnel and run that offense, okay? I'm not saying don't pass the ball at all. Certainly, you've got new weapons now with Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. use them. Absolutely. But understand that whatever you're doing with the Bears, you are utilizing the personnel more so than running just your own offense. So that is why I believe Matt Nagy is the biggest key for the Bears' success in 2020. How he decides to run this offense, that is what's going to determine the success, folks. I've given you the numbers, the data, and I've told you what the data says. The data says that you need to run the football, certainly with your running back, but also if Mitchell Trubisky's starting, he needs to run the football. But again, it is all going to depend on what Matt Nagy does in 2020. So there you have it, folks. Let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. Is Matt Nagy the biggest key for the Bears' success in 2020? Leave a comment down below if you agree. If you don't, let me know. I'll talk with you guys as well. But as always, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.